Domestic violence is the systematic abuse of power and control within any family or intimate partner relationship. It manifests as physical abuse, using physical force that results in pain, discomfort, or injury; psychological abuse, manipulating, intimidating, frightening, criticizing, and continually devaluing one's acts and opinions; economic abuse, controlling a victim's money or ability to work, thereby forcing her to be financially dependent on an abuser; sexual abuse, when a person is forced to unwillingly take part in sexual activity. Domestic violence is a serious global issue and one that is especially rampant in patriarchal societies. A patriarchal system is a social construction that forges a worldview establishing a hierarchy between genders and limiting women's role in society. Women are relegated to domestic duties, thought to be fragile and inferior, and their rights restricted. The gender divide emphasized by patriarchy is unfair and is used to justify the inequalities between genders and violence committed against women. Domestic violence is a global issue, but in Armenia, it's an everyday issue. Let's take a closer look. This is Armenia, a small country located in the heart of the Caucasus with quite a unique historical trajectory. Armenia was the first in history to adopt Christianity as a state religion. Due to its strategic location, the territory was successfully occupied by different empires, and in 1915 suffered one of the bloodiest chapters in history, the Armenian Genocide. In the early 1920s, the territory became part of the Soviet Union and upon independence was faced with the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict that continues to this day. Armenia's historical backdrop is important to keep in mind because the ethos of war and the practice of institutionalized religion legitimize violence and contribute to the formation and maintenance of patriarchal societies. The 2016 Global Gender Gap Report, an index designed to measure gender equality, ranked Armenia at 102 out of 144 countries, with the worst track record among countries in Eastern Europe and Central Asia when it comes to gender issues. Gender stereotyping in popular television programs reinforce misogynistic and patriarchal norms and entertain ideas of controlling women through violence and oppression. Harmful gender stereotypes are also widely present in school and university textbooks, and few schools offer comprehensive sexual education. An alarming 50% of women in Armenia are unemployed, and the gender pay gap is 34% as a result of women's poor involvement in the labor market. Only 9% of ministers and 10% of parliamentarians are women. 2% of rural communities have female village mayors, and there are no female city or regional mayors. State programs and policies continually exclude marginalized women, including women with disabilities, ethnic and sexual minorities, rural women, and elderly women, among others. Disturbingly, Armenia is ranked as having the second highest known rate of sex-selective abortion in the world following China, as 116 boys are born for every 100 girls. This phenomenon is linked to harmful, deeply entrenched patriarchal norms that lead society to value boys over girls. In 2015, Armenia registered 784 cases of domestic violence and 90 cases of sexual violence. However, this is an underestimation as a majority of cases go unreported. The same year, the Coalition to Stop Violence Against Women, a network of 7 feminist organizations, recorded over 2,000 cases. Tragically, between 2010 and 2016, there were 35 reported cases of femicide as a result of family and intimate partner violence. Despite the daunting numbers, Armenia still does not have a domestic violence law. Though a law is set to be adopted by 2018, to date there are concerns about it being victim-centered and properly safeguarding victims and punishing perpetrators. In view of neglect by the state, a few committed NGOs are working toward the prevention of domestic violence through rehabilitation and empowerment of survivors, promoting social change, and educating the public about domestic violence and its consequences. If you or anyone you know has suffered from domestic violence, know that you're not alone and that there are services out there to assist and protect you and your loved ones. Let's break the cycle of violence today.